Greetings all! Today, we will be examining the exceptionally rare Fire-type Pokemon Charmander, the Lizard Pokémon, its equally rare evolution Charmeleon, and its equally rare Fire-Flying type or potentially Fire-Dragon type when Mega Evolved, final evolution Charizard, the latter two known as the Flame Pokémon. A classic staple for Fire-type specialists, and existing as perhaps the most iconic of all Fire-type Pokemon families, the members of the Charmander family are powerful beasts that can more than use the power of fire to decimate those that dare to stand against them.
Charmander have light orange, scaly smooth bodies with a light orange belly and 3 white claws in each of their feet and hands. They possess small upper canines at the corners of their mouth as well as cool aquamarine eyes, and the tip of their tail is capped by a raging flame that serves as both a health and combat indicator of their current status. The evolved form Charmeleon have a very similar anatomy compared to Charmander, including their tail flame, which has grown larger. The major difference is that their scales have turned a crimson red color and their belly light red, and they now have a singular horn-like growth that extends from the back of their head. Their final evolution, Charizard, have the same color scheme as their first evolution, Charmander, but with a much larger frame and elongated neck and skull. They have a pair of horn-like growths on the back sides of their head, and they now sport a massive pair of wings with greenish-blue inner flesh they can use for flying. Charizard are gifted in that they have access to 2 different Mega Evolved states. As Mega Charizard X, the scale color and wing anatomy of these beasts changes dramatically, with a black body with light blue belly and blue flames erupting spontaneously from their tail and even their mouths. Additionally, Charizard develop thicker muscles throughout their bodies, and their claws become nearly as hard as rock, easily capable of tearing through just about anything that gets in their path. As Mega Charizard Y, however, the natural powers of the species are amplified heavily as horn extensions form along their arms, the base of their tail, and more on their head, creating a high-flying dragon-like beast that can fly even more efficiently than before while looking like a natural extension of their base form. Lastly, it is noted that Charizard are among the few that have unique Gigantamax form, in which massive flames erupt from their wings, neck, horns, and tail as they grow to a massive size, with strange diamond-shaped markings forming on their thighs and belly, giving them a terrifying appearance as a whole. The most iconic part of the members of the Charmander family is their tail, which burns brightly throughout their lifetime, even from the moment of their birth. This fire essentially marks where the main combustion organs of these beasts are located, and is thus an indicator of their overall power level. On the inside, these creatures possess a complicated system of combustion chambers that all feed directly towards their mouths, where their fire-type attacks are typically released. However, Charmander and its evolutions are at a disadvantage in that the heat generated from their main combustion organs provides most of the heat needed to keep their bodies going. If their tail flame were to ever go out fully, these creatures would quickly lose the ability to generate body heat, and other organs would suffer damage outside of extremely hot environments. As such, the flames on their tails serve as a natural indicator of their overall health. The brighter and more intensely they burn, the healthier their owner is. With Charmeleon, this flame serves as a trifold purpose of representing their overall power level, emotional state, and health. Unlike Charmander though, Charmeleon are able to utilize their combustion organs to a far greater extent and thus possess superior fire-type abilities. Not surprisingly, this also means that their tail flame is larger and naturally burns brighter, enough to make them look like stars when seen at night in mountainous environments, and much hotter. This goes even further with Charizard, whose flames can usually reach temperatures hot enough to melt boulders, making Charizard walking fire hazards to all types of life forms, including water types. This is perfectly cemented in their combat abilities, as these beasts and their entire family normally have access to Blaze as their only base ability, though those that are able to use the power of the sun to warm their bodies further and amplify the power of their attacks can also have Solar Power as a hidden ability. In terms of stats, in the case of Charizard, it can be seen that these creatures are fairly well-rounded fighters that can serve decently well in most cases, but are a bit lacking on the physical front, with their base HP, attack, and defense stats being below average for a fully evolved fire and flying type Pokemon. On the flip side, their other stats are quite decent, with above average base special attack, special defense, and speed stats for a fully evolved Pokemon of both of their types, proving that they can definitely make life difficult for those that have to face them from afar without a speed advantage.
Starting off very young, as already stated, the flame on the tail of a Charmander is not only a health indicator, but also one for emotions, as it will burn brighter the more engaged they become. As such, it is important that trainers make sure that the flame does not burn too weakly, even if they seem relaxed.
The slightest bit of water can cause the flame to sputter and release steam, making moist environments dangerous for Charmander to be in. It comes as no surprise then that they are found almost exclusively within volcanoes and among dry, craggy mountains in the wild. In comparison to their evolved forms, Charmander are thankfully quite docile and fun to play with despite their fiery powers. They are usually obedient to a fault and will gladly do whatever their trainer asks them to do, even if it might seem silly or life-threatening.
As such, Charmander have become a natural candidate for starter Pokemon in places like the Kanto region, and have become very popular among hardcore trainers that are looking for a serious challenge.
Although Charmander do eventually get access to some very powerful Fire-type moves, their inability to deal effectively with Water and Rock-type Pokemon makes them a difficult choice to compete with against some gyms, but the potential they have for sheer power is more than enough to overcome this issue. Finally, it should be noted that, while Charmander aren't quite friendly towards people and other Pokemon, their evolved forms are certainly not. Trainers need to make sure that their Charmander respects them as both a friend and trainer before letting them evolve if they wish to avoid any serious behavioral complications in the future. With Charmeleon, their flames are hot enough to raise the ambient air temperature to a point where the area around them becomes unbearable for most other life forms. Charmeleon often take advantage of this trait by swinging their tails around in battle, ensuring that few creatures will dare to come close to them to deliver physical strikes. If physical force is required, however, Charmeleon will gladly move in close and rip apart the opposition with their sharp claws. They may even use their tails to knock their opponent to the ground, but this maneuver also puts their tail flames and therefore their lives in jeopardy.
As noted already, in stark contrast to the playful and easygoing nature of their pre-evolved form, Charmeleon are brutish fighters that care only about battling and winning.
They will gladly impose whatever barbaric tactics may be needed to win their battles, even if doing so goes against their owner's wishes. This often leads to communication issues between Charmeleon and their trainers early on, which must be solved before evolution if their full power is to be taken advantage of. If they become too impatient or are unable to garner any wins, Charmeleon will sometimes go as far as challenging their trainer's other Pokemon or the trainers themselves just for a quick fight. Thankfully, these beasts are not all bark and no bite. When faced with a particularly difficult opponent, Charmeleon will become enraged to the point where their tail flame begins burning a bright blue color. At this point, Charmeleon lose some control over their tail flame, causing it to spew intense flames everywhere. While it may present a serious hazard to teammates in multi-Pokemon battles, this more often than not gives Charmeleon the tactical advantage they need to overcome an otherwise insurmountable obstacle. The transition from Charmeleon to Charizard grants these creatures more efficient use of their combustion organs, and therefore a larger, brighter, and hotter tail flame. In the case of Charizard, this fire also further grows in size and intensity as they age and gain experience. Charizard share with Charmeleon the distinction of having their tail flame turn a bright blue when they become enraged. Unlike Charmeleon, however, Charizard have greater control over their own power and do not spontaneously erupt flames from their tail when enraged. Charizard in the wild are rarely ever considered a problem because they tend to stick to themselves among craggy mountains, but they will occasionally travel to nearby forests and valleys for food. Unfortunately, due to their intense fire-type abilities, it is not uncommon for Charizard to accidentally set entire forests on fire with a single burst of flame.
Despite all these potential hazards, trainers can breathe a sigh of relief in knowing that Charizard prefer to never battle an opponent that is weaker than themselves. If anything, this at least means that you won't have to worry about one's Charizard going on a rampage and incinerating a small town over something as pointless as a Rattata.
What truly sets Charizard apart from most other fire types, however, is their ability to fly, usually up to an altitude of about 4,600 feet. Aside from giving them access to the air slash attack immediately after evolving, flight grants Charizard a major advantage in surveying territory and finding suitable places for them to nest in. Seeing as the young are particularly susceptible to wet environments, this proves to be an incredibly useful mode of transportation when examining mountain peaks and high cliffs. In battle, flight gives Charizard a tremendous advantage over many other types of Pokemon in that they can easily roast the opposition from above with little to no warning. Furthermore, the ability to simply fly out of range of an opponent's attacks can easily lengthen defensive stance, allowing Charizard to tire out the opposition before swooping in to deliver a nasty blow. It is not fully clear why Charizard developed wings in the first place, but it is usually credited to the activation of some draconic genes within their DNA, which would also explain their ability to learn the powerful Dragon Claw attack naturally, while their intense flames can allow them to learn the Heat Wave attack, both of which require a bit of artificial help to make happen. With all of this said, it must be noted that Charizard is one of only a limited number of Pokemon known to be capable of undergoing Mega Evolution, but is also distinct in that they have two completely unique Mega Evolutions to choose from. Using a hailed Charizardite X, Mega Evolution causes a massive spike in the aggressive nature of these beasts and makes it almost impossible to fully control them. For reasons that are still a mystery, this mutation triggers the full activation of draconic gene sequences already present in these creatures. The full expression of these genes results in their flying type abilities being slightly reduced in favor of the ability to naturally wield and utilize draconic energy in battle, turning them from fire flying types to fire dragon types. It is hypothesized that this Mega Evolution variant is an unnatural mutation brought on by unknown forces. So unnatural, in fact, that some suspect that this Megastone is actually an artificial construct, and while it might not capitalize on the species' best natural stats, it does turn them into a devastating force to face both from afar and in close quarters. And speaking of stats, this radical mutation has the effect of moderately increasing Mega Charizard X's base special attack stat, considerably increasing the base defense stat, and astronomically increasing the base attack stat. In turn, they along with Mega Charizard Y gain the highest base stat total out of all non-legendary Fire-type Pokemon. Moreover, the increased muscle strength, claw hardness, and overall developmental spike to physical attributes allows these beasts to strike with contact moves far harsher than they would normally, in turn granting them access to tough claws as an ability, and allowing them to make the most of their powerful physical strikes. If a Charizard Mega Evolves while holding a Charizardite Y, however, the beast will instead Mega Evolve into Mega Charizard Y. In this form, the natural powers of the species are amplified heavily, creating a high-flying dragon-like beast that can fly so swiftly and accurately through the air that even the best of flying-type Pokemon cannot outperform them in the air.
This transformation easily makes Charizard Y one of the strongest Fire-type Pokemon out there, but their disposition does not actually radically change with Mega Evolution, so they are still relatively easy to control.
It is believed that this form is a natural Mega Evolution of Charizard, and more than modifies the powerful traits they already have, making them powerful beasts that only the greatest of defensive fighters will be able to last long against in battle. As a reflection of this, said transformation moderately increases Mega Charizard Y's base attack stat, considerably increases their base special defense stat, and astronomically increases their base special attack stat. In turn, they along with Mega Charizard X gain the highest base stat total out of all non-legendary Fire-type Pokemon, and they additionally gain the highest base special attack stat out of all Fire and non-legendary Flying-type Pokemon, as well as the highest base special defense stat out of all non-legendary Fire-type Pokemon. Furthermore, Mega Evolution causes these beasts to start radiating massive amounts of thermal energy on a constant basis, and in such a wide field of reach that it heats up the entire battlefield, creating the same elemental effects that would be created by intense sunlight, and in turn granting these monsters the Drought ability, a powerful combination that makes their fiery attacks nearly unstoppable in many situations. Lastly, it is noted that Charizard is also one of only a select number of species of Pokemon capable of undergoing the process of Gigantamaxing, with specific members of the species taking on a unique form when they are Dynamaxed in battle. In this state, flames radiate from their body, burning intensely as the temperature of the flames skyrockets to 3,600 degrees Fahrenheit, further increasing when these beasts unleash their mighty roar upon those that wish to confront them. While this might only be a temporary state for them, the immense power that flows through them while in this state allows Charizard to utilize a unique G-Max move known as G-Max Wildfire, which uses a generated effigy of the Pokemon Moltres to sear the opposition with immense damage while surrounding them in a whirling vortex of flame that continuously deals damage to all opposing members of the opposition at the end of every combat turn, allowing these monsters to use their Dynamax power to the fullest and leave little but scorched earth in their wake once their transformation ends.
The classic debate of the best console starter, or even just the best starter Pokemon in general, is one that has been in the corner of this iconic family for generations, and it's more than understandable why. Though they might not outwardly be the most powerful of starter Pokemon, these creatures were among the first to be professionally adapted, having more than enough firepower to roast anyone that dares to confront them. They are noted for occasionally having obedience issues when wielded by trainers that do not know how to make the most of their power, but they can nonetheless prove to be real fire starters in a fight. Pun intended. I personally have never really been a part of the hype train that surrounds these creatures, but I still respect the popularity they have garnered and can certainly give a salute to those that stand by these fiery beasts and do the best to make the most of them in any battle.
More than well known across the globe for their powers and iconic status as starter Pokemon, the members of the Charmander family are potent critters that can more than make themselves serious contenders to deal with. With a wide variety of forms they can take when fully evolved, and a versatile list of moves that can make even the types they're weak against fear them at least to some extent, These beasts can bring more than a little heat to the fray and show why they are so renowned across the globe.
Just do yourself a favor and make sure that you can bond with them at an early age if you want the best results. They might have quite a bit of power on their side, but if you can't control them, you may find yourself in a bit of a pickle if they decide to disobey you and simply take a nap in the middle of a battle.
Thank you all for watching this video. It is always a pleasure to help teach others about the world of Pokemon and the many facets of it that exist in both the world we call home and the world they call home. If you'd like, please leave a comment and subscribe and ring the bell to this channel to get regular updates on content and anything else that might be going on. You can find me and my written work on DeviantArt under the name Utitus and be informed of information and content uploads on my Twitter page and my Patreon page. Donations are always welcome. Always remember, the world of Pokemon is a vast and varied place, and there's no telling what secrets might be hiding just around the corner. So keep watch, stay vigilant, and always prepare for the unexpected. Until next time, have a wonderful rest of the day.